Ayubowan, Vanakkam. I'm Vioni Dimel. This is Boston Lanka News, bringing you news, views and entertainment from Boston and USA. Post LTTE Challanges for the Muslim community in Sri Lanka. 100 performers performing the rhythms of Sri Lanka at the Sri Lankan Day Expo 2010 in Santa Monica. The voices as well as the grievances of the Sri Lankan Muslim community have not been in the forefront in the Sri Lankan political discourse most of the time. Boston Lanka contacted the Sri Lankan Muslim Information Center Director, Dr. Saeed Bazir, to discuss the post-LTTE challenges for the Muslim community in Sri Lanka as well as the new opportunities. Mr. Bazir joins us from the United Kingdom. Mr. Bazir, in your view, what would be the biggest challenge the Muslim community is facing now?
Basically, Muslims are now happily and amicably living among the majority Sinhalese community in the south. Whereas in the north and the east, the problem took a different turn because the Muslims were denied their fundamental rights of calling themselves Muslims. And they were treated like Tamil-speaking people or Tamil Muslims, and they were forced to support them, and they are, they were expelled at some time, they were killed, and these were the reason that forced Muslims to form their own political aspiration based on the fact that the Tamil community was asking for a separate land. Then, of course, the Muslims wanted to have their own enclave for their Muslim security and their safety and prosperity and so on. But then this was the history of it, and we have this old history. We know that what happened in the past 30 years, and the military of the Tamils, taking up a hand. But now the thing has changed now very much, and the grievances are not like that what we had before. It has to be looked at differently now. Before May 18th and after May 18th, that is the dividing timeline I can call. This is where we could look at the problems in a different perspective. If you say that now, the problem we had before about language issues and other things about the Muslims persecuted by the Tamil community, all that now is gone. And after setting up the Eastern Provincial Council, where there was a competition as to who was going to be the chief minister, there the Muslims also stood firmly in that demand, as well as the Tamils. So there we see that the Sinhalese and Tamils and Muslims live in more or less the same proportion and in amity, and they have no problem as such to confront between themselves, and to an extent where they can take arms against each other. And there is a climate where the political democracy, politically they can articulate their opinion, and they can redress their problems, address their problems, and they can seek redress for whatever the problem they are facing.
As you may have heard, there are some dissatisfaction among the Tamil and Muslim communities in East and North about the return of some Sinhalese people to those areas. Do you have any thoughts about that?
After living about 30 years under the LTTE control, virtually in some areas where now it's liberated and people now freely move around and they do their farming and they're resettling in the areas where the Muslim feels more secure now. But then still when the Sinhalese who left those areas, they are also returning in small numbers. When that happens, the new generation finds it a bit awkward as to why these people are coming and they are with a different culture, different religion and so on and so forth. It's basically they grew up with the culture of with a different culture, with a different lifestyle and so on and so forth. But now Sinhalese who are entitled, because they were living there before, and there were Sinhalese schools, there were Sinhalese temples, there were Sinhalese places where they were also one time. There are places where they were living predominantly Sinhalese, identified areas. But then, if they return to their place, they should be welcome. It is their right. If the Muslims want to go back to the north after about 17, 18 years after the expulsion, how come the Sinhalese can't come back and to their former place where they lived and enjoy freedom and prosperity their integration into the communities.
Asela Ratnayaka, along with his wife Medini, founded the Serendip Foundation in Los Angeles in 2006 to nurture the rich Sri Lankan cultural heritage of our Sri Lankan expatriate community living in the USA. We join with Asela to discuss about the Serendip Foundation and their performance at the Sri Lankan Day Expo 2010 organized by the Sri Lanka Foundation. Asela, last February, you had a very successful performance of Matru Bhumi Vandana to commemorate the 62nd anniversary of Sri Lanka's independence. Could you please talk about the show and explain why the people were so impressed about the show?
Yes, that show, basically, let me start with how we laid out the whole program. We conceptualized the program to promote the harmony among all the Sri Lankans, not just Sinhalese, but all the other communities. We kept the Independence Day one of our very significant days as a Sri Lankans. So we kept the identity and the importance of the event. Plus, we added some entertainment value. We carefully orchestrated the events, the items, so that it will contain some entertainment value plus some cultural message. Plus, we had a lot of youngsters came in and perform different kinds of music.
These days, you are getting ready for your first major outdoor production, Rythems of Sri Lanka, variety program that will be held at the Sri Lanka Day Expo 2010 in Santa Monica, California, organized by Sri Lanka Foundation on August 7th, 2010. What will be the unique aspects of that show and what are your objectives in presenting that show?
Yeah, this particular show basically comes in front of a large American audience, where they were staged. 60% of our audience would be the Americans, non-Sri Lankans. So what we thought, with that in mind, the uniqueness we are trying to build into this program is mostly showing the whole wider spectrum of life of Sri Lanka and what kind of people we are. So, as a performing arts organization, we are trying to get a message across about Sri Lankans, how we are and what is our history, what values we have, our folk music, what is our folk music, what is the influence, like I said earlier, on our music from our neighbor India and our colonial powers, Portugal, Netherlands, and England. All these three had influence on our culture, especially performing arts, music. So we want to show them what, even though we are a small country, what kind of wide spectrum of arts we have. And the objective of presenting this show there is to, raise awareness about Sri Lanka among Americans, raise awareness about Sri Lanka among our youth, especially. Because some people who have lived here for 30, 40 years, probably they don't remember, they just to recollect what their roots are, especially the kids who were born here, and basically to promote Sri Lanka as a tourist destination as well.
By the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight.
That concludes our news edition this week. We meet you next week with another news edition of News, Views and Entertainment from Boston and USA. Till then, goodbye.